Guys, Rona Man here. I'm at the food festival here in Bangkok. They're having all kinds of things. They cheap food, and it's Sunday morning, beautiful day, like a nice day as usual in Thailand. The convention's coming up, totally stoked on that, and guys are getting all excited. Guys are going to fly over here pretty soon. But I just wanted to talk about something that women do that often we don't hear about. And it's like the humiliating things that women do to show that they're in control of a man. Okay, I think there's two types. I want to break them down into two types. So one type of humiliating thing they're going to do is something in private. So they're going to try to get you to do something humiliating in private. So I had this one girl, and she always wanted me to dress up like a woman. Like just one time, she wanted to put makeup on me and this and that. And the girl was actually pretty cool, and I liked her, but I just didn't want to do it. Like, I'm open-minded. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, Rona Man does not give a flying fuck. If I wanted to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Like, literally, I don't care. But the thing is, I just didn't want to do this one. I didn't want to dress. I didn't think it was interesting. Like, well, why would I want to dress, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have any kind of fetish with that, so, like, whatever, you know? I'm like, nah, it's kind of like, nah, you know? And I never did it, but she always wanted me to do it. And I think it was her way of kind of saying, like, like she wanted me to do it so that she could say, like, oh, that one time, like, kind of make me feel like maybe like something humiliating. Now, of course, women are very smart, and every man has different tastes. So some men would not mind even a video of them wearing a dress or whatever. So the woman is going to tailor her humiliation and control to the man. So some guys don't even mind. Like, they'll be like, yeah, let's go to the fucking mall, right? Now that wouldn't work. See, it's not about the thing that they're getting you to do. It's not about what they're trying to get you to do. Hold their purse, pass the salt, wait for them to get ready, hide in a room while their ex-boyfriend comes over. Whatever the fuck they're trying to get you to do, it's not about the thing itself. It's about how it affects you. So they're going to analyze you and see what affects you. So some guys don't give a fuck about stuff, and they give a very big fuck about other things, right? So if a guy does not care, she's going to try. She's going to think, her friend's going to say, yeah, oh yeah, the best way to humiliate him is get him to wear a dress. Now say one guy's like, he wears a dress and he's like, this is awesome. He takes a video, sends it to his friends, puts it on his Facebook, starts laughing. He's like, yeah, let's go to the mall, And then the girl's like, oh, okay, it didn't work, right? It's all about if it works or not. That's all that they care. Does it make him feel like kind of like that he's under her control and she's got some leverage on him, right? That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to make it so that she controls you, right? So this is the stuff that she might do in private. Now, other things she's going to do in public because she wants to brand you, okay? So maybe she'll buy clothing that is matching clothing, so you both have striped shirts, the same shirt, things like that. These are the kind of harmless things. I mean, I don't think wearing matching clothes is embarrassing for me. I think it's kind of funny. Like, I wouldn't mind at all. I could give a fuck. Now, that's why there's no energy for a woman to do it to me, because I don't care, right? So she's going to look for something that I really care about. So, for example, one of my friends was telling me that his girlfriend used to, whenever they had a date, he would come over to her house, and then she would be in bed, okay? So that when he got there, he had to wait. He had to wait for, like, God knows how long until she was ready. And he felt very humiliated by waiting, because he was all ready to go. He had taken a shower. He had gotten, he had driven over there. He was all ready to go. And then she was like just getting out of bed. She hadn't done anything, right? So for him, this was kind of humiliating. One time is fine, but like, this is the way she always wanted to start their dates, right? Now, this girl was quite hot. So it was like, he was a little forgiving. She had a huge rack and she was young. So these kind of things factor into how much guys are willing to do. I know for myself, if a girl's like totally my type and she's smoking hot and 19 years old and just fucking wet as fuck and super tight pussy, I'm gonna give up. I'm going to be a lot more easygoing on these things, and also I'm actually gonna feel different about it. Like, I'll feel less humiliated if a girl's insanely fucking hot, right? She's just in the flower of her fucking youth, and we're having great sex and all that. So it all depends on that stuff too. Like, if the girl's like ugly and old and she's aging, then mid 30s or whatever, she's already going downhill. You're gonna be, you look dumber, right? If you bend over backwards for a smoking girl, like guys don't think it's that embarrassing, right? Like I might carry a purse for a super hot 18-year-old girl, right? Because it's like, whatever, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, whatever. She wants me to do that. Who cares, I probably wouldn't anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the way I would lean on that one, because it's all a package, right? It's like humiliation or control is based on subtle things, right? Yeah, obviously it depends on how you feel about it, but other factors also included. So, okay, so let's talk about public humiliation. So the kind of things that women will do. So one thing that women will do, I remember one time I was having dinner at my parents' house, and my brother was there, my parents were there, and this girl was there. And then she says to me, pass the salt. Like an order. Like all of a sudden, like, here we are having a nice day, probably had sex in the morning, everything's great. All of a sudden she says in like a kind of an order voice, pass the salt. And I was like, fuck that. So I didn't hand her the salt, right? I just pretended like I didn't hear it, right? And then she's like, then she looks at me and she goes, pass me the salt. But the thing is, the salt wasn't very far away from either of us. Like, she could reach out and grab the salt too. If the salt was obviously, 2 meters away, that's different, right? But all she had to do was reach over her plate. She could get the salt. But the salt was a little bit closer to my hand. So she was like, basically like, the scene was she was trying to prove to my family that she had control of me. And so what I did in this situation was, and I want to get away from bragging, because you guys, if any man has ever beaten all these tests, please stand up and tell me, because it's not true. We have all been humiliated by a woman, all of us. Rona Man, you, every fucking buddy on this thing, because the shit they pull is so complicated. So it's like it surprises you, like, it comes out of nowhere. Like, well, like this girl, we were having a really nice time, and the next minute it's like this order, like, pass me the salt, and I'm like, and I wasn't ready for it, because I was like laughing in a good mood and everything, and now all of a sudden there's this kind of like test. It's like this fucking test of me. So I was like, this particular situation, I didn't do it. I was like no. And then the third time she said, pass me the salt, and I was like, get it yourself. And now she had a choice. She could either take it to the next level, which a girl would usually do, but in this situation we were still new in the relationship, and she was meeting my family. So I think she decided that it wasn't worth it. And so it just disappeared into the ether, right? She tested me out, it didn't work, back to usual, right? And this is often the way that governments enact legislation also, is they'll come up with a new law like, oh, no drinking under, whatever. And then the populace will fight against it and say, no, it's not right. So they'll say, okay, well, not 18, okay, 21. And they'll kind of like change legislation, and then they'll pass it, right? And then, so they test out something first. And women will do this with you. They'll test out how much they can humiliate you, how much they can get you to do in front of who, in what scenario, right? So every man's a little different. And I want to get away from bragging, because us as men, we are so fucking weak, and we all are susceptible to this kind of stuff. So it's important to look at yourself super, super honestly and realize that you also are just like every other guy, right? So it's like you want to get better and better at this kind of stuff, right? So you don't look like such an idiot, right? And I think the MGTOW community is really good at teaching this kind of stuff and helping us to kind of see these things for what they are. So this is not a shit test. A shit test is something when you're just meeting a girl in a bar that she's gonna like say things, right? This is different. This is like she is now trying to show people her dominance over you. Okay? Women establish dominance. And I said it before in one of the episodes, I forgot which the title was, but one of the episodes I talked about how women will do this kind of thing. But let's talk about this. Okay, so what's another scenario? So the salt one didn't work, and it didn't work, so she went right back to normal. She's back to, she ignored like it didn't happen, because she realized she was going to look bad if she made a big deal out of it in front of my parents, because she was still new, she didn't want to look like a cunt already. It was too early to look like that. So, but she also realized that I was not quite under her control yet. So she's like going to work on that, right? So the next time was we were eating food together, and I had a couple of friends over, not good friends, but a couple of people that I knew were over, and I was feeding the dog, and she said, "No more chicken." She's like, "No more chicken," and he can't have any more chicken. Now the dog loved chicken, right? The dog fucking loved chicken, right? And there was no scientific reason for why the dog could not have more chicken, right? Because the dog loves chicken, right? The dog loves meat. The dog's not a fucking vegan, and he was hungry, right? But she said no more chicken, and I was just giving the dog the first piece of chicken, right? Because I knew the dog loved chicken, right? And I love chicken, so we were both gonna have some chicken, right? But she said no more chicken. The dog, no, don't give him chicken, no. And like in front of my friends. And this is one of these times that I didn't react well. I should have just fed it to him anyway. I should have just given it to him and said, oh, what? That would have been the best thing to do in that scenario. It's just kind of like, what did you say? Oh, did you say chicken? Oh, okay, whatever. Because it's not about feeding the guy chicken or not. It's just about being under her control, right? That's the thing. And I want to say this too, is I do not want women under my control, okay? So I'm not trying to turn this around and, telling her, don't give chicken to the dog. Like, this is a way to not be controlled. You do not want to be humiliated and controlled by a woman. At the same time, there is no benefit in you controlling or humiliating a woman, right? It's just like, hey, live and let live. I don't want you to control me. I'm not going to fucking control you, right? And so when someone tries to control you, you have every right to fight back, but you have to do it smart, especially if you're in a relationship. Now, guys are never going to tell the truth about how humiliating it is to be in a relationship. The reason why, why guys will not tell you how humiliating it is? The reason is because then they would have to make a decision. So guys will not say like, my life totally sucks. Women dictate my every move. My wife is a fucking cunt. I hate my life, this and that. They won't say that because they know that what you're going to say is, well, why don't you get divorced? And they don't want to do it. They can't do it. So that's the reason why guys don't tell you the truth on this stuff. But I want to break this out, and I want you guys to talk about it in the comments, the things that women have done to try to show their dominance over you in public or private, right? Either one. And I want to talk about how you handled it, either poorly or well. Because sometimes you handle it well, like I did with the salt, and it didn't become a big issue. And the other time I handled it poorly because I stopped giving the dog chicken. But at the same time, I was quite humiliated in a way because my friends were over, and to them, here's what it looked like to them. Because this wasn't explained. It looked like the dog had a special diet that I wasn't adhering to. So, because they didn't know the dog eats chicken every day, right? I'm not going to explain it to them. So they thought that I was being, like I wasn't being careful, right? I was just feeding the dog something that wasn't good for him. Because we all have dietary requirements, right? Some guys, when you're older, you can't eat too much sugar, right? Because you're going to get diabetes, right? So these guys are not dog experts, so they don't know chicken, meat, whatever. They just think like he's ignoring the doctor's orders is probably what they assumed, and that she was obviously caring more about the dog. But the truth was, this was totally illogical. This was just totally a way to control me. There was nothing about the dog or chicken or any of this bullshit that mattered at all. Like the dog eats fucking meat, right? There's any kind of meat's fine, and it was just purely a dominance play. And I handled it poorly. So I want to talk about both those scenarios. And then my friend, who would always, the girl would make him wait, and then finally he found a way out of it because he would basically say like, text me when you're going to take the elevator downstairs and I'll drive over, right? So that if she wasn't ready, he wasn't going to come over, right? If he wasn't going downstairs, which meant she was all dressed up and makeup and everything, he was not going to come over. So if you're going to be in a situation, you need to think of a way that you can get out of it. Obviously without making a big deal out of it. But I mean, obviously, like the best way is just fucking avoid relationships. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, there's two levels, right? There's relationships and there's living together. I think living together is the bigger mistake. I think living together is the biggest mistake a man can make. It's the single biggest mistake. Not marriage, not relationship. Living together. I'm going to talk about this in a future episode because I think that living together, whether you have a contract or not, this is what makes you the most blackmailable, is when you live with a woman. So I don't think it's the piece of paper, and I don't think it's the sex. It's living together is the one that makes you the most, it just puts you in the weakest fucking position. So we'll talk about that in a future episode. So if you guys, if you have anything that you remember back, you'd like to talk about, it's kind of a test that a woman did for you and how you responded to it. And like, honestly, I want you to like, this is an honest channel, guys. It's not about being perfect, right? If we were all perfect, why the fuck would we even be on this channel, right? We would already know everything. We would always handle every situation perfectly, right? But that's not the truth. The truth is that life is complicated and girls throw stuff at you. You might not even be dating them, right? And we could just be at work or whatever, you know what I mean? Or some guy could throw some kind of test at you, right? But how do you handle it? How do you deal with it? You know, in a smart manner, right? You can always like turn the table upside down and start punching people in the face, right? You know, that's always an option, but this is obviously not, this has repercussions, right? How can you live your life in the smartest way possible is what I'm saying. All right, guys, Rotoman signing off. I'm gonna go have some food at the festival, and looking forward to you guys landing for the fucking convention, because everybody's coming over, and I'm seriously excited, man. Start getting people in their hotels and everything, and starts September 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So if you're still thinking of coming, let me know. I'll send you a link. It's $300 to sign up. And then just so you guys know, it's not coming to Thailand. It's not a big deal. I'm here. Don't worry. You're going to be fine. It's easy to get from the hotel, from the airport to the downtown. It's super easy. And there's taxis. There's a subway. It's like $3 to get in the subway to downtown. And a hotel can be anywhere from $15 up. So super easy. If you want to come, it's going to be awesome camaraderie. We're also going to have a bunch of surprises which are going to fucking make it super awesome that I figured out yesterday. I worked out yesterday. So got some new stuff we're adding to the convention, and it's going to be fucking great. All right, guys. So any stories you have on how women try to control you and how you dealt with it, either poorly or well, would be very appreciated. And what you learned from it. What did you learn from it? Looking back, what could you have done better? What could you have done smarter? Yeah. All right, guys. Rotoman signing off.